Seriously, folks, has the NBA gone absolutely mad? Are we really discussing Kevin Durant? That Kevin Durant potentially joining the Boston Celtics after Jayson Tatum's devastating injury? Isn't this just another chapter in the endless saga of a superstar chasing a ring? Or is there a genuine, albeit shocking, path for this to happen? Hold onto your hats, basketball fans, because the rumor mill just exploded with a bombshell that has shaken the very foundations of the league. Just when the Boston Celtics were grappling with the gut-wrenching news of Jayson Tatum's season-ending Achilles tear, a familiar and often controversial name, has suddenly surfaced: Kevin Durant. It's a storyline ripped straight from a Hollywood script. Tragedy striking a championship contender, and then from the ashes, the whispers of a phoenix-like rise powered by a future Hall of Famer. But is this a desperate gamble, a calculated risk, or simply a fever dream fueled by the relentless churn of the NBA trade machine? The pain is still palpable in Boston. Jayson Tatum, the young phenom, the cornerstone of the Celtics' future, went down in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. A ruptured Achilles tendon, words that send shivers down the spine of any athlete, any fan. Not only did Boston lose that hard-fought series, but they also lost their six-time All-Star for potentially the entirety of next season. It's a void that feels impossible to fill, a championship window seemingly slammed shut. And then, like a lightning bolt from a clear sky, the name Kevin Durant appears. Now, we all know KD, the two-time NBA Finals MVP, a scoring machine, a generational talent. He's currently on the trade block, and he's publicly stated his preferred destinations: Miami, San Antonio, Houston. Notice anything missing from that list? Oh, right, the Boston Celtics. So, how, in the name of all that is holy, did Boston suddenly enter this conversation? It all started with a report from Yahoo Sports' Kevin O'Connor. He dropped the bombshell, stating, and I quote, "Durant has already been rejected by his top choices. There were rumors around the trade deadline that KD wanted to go to the Celtics or Knicks. Now, New York's interest, according to reports, isn't mutual anymore. But what about Boston?" O'Connor, perhaps throwing cold water on the fire he just started, then tempered expectations. Boston's cap space and trajectory make this scenario highly unlikely. Highly unlikely? Tell that to the internet. The moment this report hit the airwaves, social media absolutely erupted. The collective groan, the disbelief, the outright anger from fans was instantaneous. One fan perfectly encapsulated the sentiment, quipping, "KD is starting to sound like the Knicks front office asking for coaches." Another fan hit the nail on the head, pointing out the uncomfortable truth: no championship contending team is going to give up key pieces for KD. The Suns did that, and well, you can almost hear the ellipses of regret in their voice. And then there was the raw, unadulterated cynicism. KD wanted to go to the current champions at this trade deadline? One fan exclaimed, the digital equivalent of an eye roll. Well, man's always on a run. He's not even trying to hide it anymore. The most scathing, perhaps, came from a fan who simply stated, "This dude has no shame, man. Just hops from super team to super team." Ouch! The court of public opinion has spoken, and it's not exactly rolling out the welcome mat for Kevin Durant in Boston. Let's pump the brakes for a moment and look at the cold, hard facts. Kevin Durant will turn 37 in September. He's set to earn a staggering $54.7 million next season, the final year of his current contract. That's a massive financial commitment for a player who, while undeniably elite, is entering the twilight of his career. However, let's not get it twisted. Durant is still a force of nature on the court. This past season, he averaged 26.6 points per game, shooting an incredibly efficient 52.7% from the field and 43% from beyond the arc. He also chipped in 6 rebounds and 4.2 assists per game, ranking 6th in the league in scoring. These are numbers that most players can only dream of. He's an offensive juggernaut, a certified bucket getter, and he can single-handedly swing the momentum of the game. But there's a shadow that looms over Durant's recent history: injuries, Since tearing his Achilles in the 2019 NBA Finals as a member of the Golden State Warriors, he hasn't made it past the conference semifinals. Think about that for a second. The man who won 2 championships with Golden State, the player who was once seemingly invincible, has struggled to stay healthy and make deep playoff runs since that fateful injury. He's been through stints with the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns, both ending with unfulfilled championship aspirations. So, let's play devil's advocate for a moment. If the Celtics were to even consider this, what would it cost them? To absorb Durant's monster salary, Boston would have to shed significant salary and, more importantly, sacrifice valuable assets. We're talking about core players' future draft picks, the very building blocks of their post-Tatum future. Given their cap space and trajectory, as O'Connor noted, making this work financially would be a Herculean task. And then there's the locker room dynamic. The Celtics have a strong team culture built on grit defense and unselfish play. How would a player like Durant, who has, shall we say, a well-documented history of moving on when things get tough, fit into that? Would he be the missing piece or a disruptive force? These are not trivial questions, especially when you consider the already emotional landscape of Tatum's injury. So, as the dust settles on this latest wave of trade rumors, we're left with more questions than answers. Is Kevin Durant destined to bounce from contender to contender, or will he finally find a stable home? And for the Boston Celtics, is a desperate, short-term gamble on an aging superstar truly the path forward? Or should they focus on nurturing their young talent and building for a sustainable future, even without Tatum for season? This is more than just a trade rumor. It's a fascinating look into the psyche of a superstar, the desperate measures teams might consider, and the raw, unvarnished opinions of a passionate fan base. What do you think? Is there any scenario where Kevin Durant in a Celtics uniform makes sense? Or is this just another wild goose chase in the never-ending NBA offseason? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown as wild as we did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more exclusive insights, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next bombshell to drop. We want to hear from you. Every take, every theory, every passionate rant. Let the debate begin.